On this day in history, we remember the remarkable individuals who shaped our world. Welcome to Who Died Today in History, where we honor their legacies. From artists to leaders, their impact lives on. If you find their stories meaningful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected. Martin Luther King Jr., a pivotal leader in the American Civil Rights Movement, was assassinated on April 4, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee. He was standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel when he was struck by a bullet fired by James Earl Ray, a fugitive who later confessed to the crime. King had been in Memphis to support a sanitation workers' strike, a cause rooted in the economic struggles of African Americans, and his assassination occurred just as he was advocating for a broader economic justice campaign. His death sent shockwaves through the United States, sparking riots in more than 100 cities, reflecting the deep frustrations and anger within marginalized communities. King's death was not just the loss of a man, it marked the end of an era in the civil rights struggle. In the immediate aftermath, the nation experienced a mix of grief, outrage, and political upheaval. While some saw King's assassination as an attempt to silence the movement, his martyrdom only amplified the cause he championed. His death catalyzed further civil rights reforms, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1968, which addressed housing discrimination and accelerated efforts to address racial inequality in the U.S. His tragic end amplified his legend, cementing his place as one of history's greatest advocates for nonviolent resistance. King became an icon, with his life and work commemorated in art, literature, and public monuments. The shock waves of his death reverberated across the world, echoing the volatile struggles for racial equality. King's assassination starkly illuminated the deep divisions within American society at the time, forcing the nation to confront its contradictions and systemic inequalities. His leadership in the face of racial violence and social injustice continues to resonate. Today, Martin Luther King Jr. is immortalized through national observances, including Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and remains a symbol of the ongoing fight for racial equality and justice. King's assassination reflects humanity's complex relationship with mortality, power, and memory. His life and death have been memorialized not only as a tragedy, but as a call to action, showing how individuals can transcend their death to inspire societal change. His legacy, rooted in ideals of justice and peace, endures, inspiring continued reflection on power, equality, and the quest for social justice. Gloria Swanson, a star of the silent film era and a renowned actress, passed away on April 4, 1983, at the age of 84 or 86 due to a heart ailment. Her death marked the end of a significant chapter in Hollywood history, symbolizing the changing nature of fame and cinema itself. Swanson's death was the final curtain on the life of an actress who had transcended the silent film era and reinvented herself in the modern age. Swanson's early career in the 1920s was marked by extraordinary success in silent films, particularly her collaboration with director Cecil B. DeMille. She became one of the highest-paid stars of the time, known for her glamorous, larger-than-life screen persona. However, as the advent of sound films signaled the end of many silent stars' careers, Swanson experienced a fall from grace. The transition to talkies was difficult for her, as her distinctive style of acting did not easily translate to the new format, and she faced challenges both in her career and personal life. She also faced financial hardship, particularly following the failure of her personal production company, United Artists, and a significant loss from the ill-fated film Queen Kelly. This financial setback reflected the impermanence and instability of Hollywood, where fame could be fleeting and fortunes could shift in an instant. Despite these challenges, Swanson made a remarkable comeback with her iconic role in Sunset Boulevard, 1950, portraying a faded star longing for a return to fame. The film mirrored her own experiences and earned her critical acclaim, solidifying her place in film history. Swanson's portrayal of Norma Desmond became one of the most memorable in cinematic history and is often seen as an exploration of the dangers of fame and the passage of time. Her death did not lead to a public outpouring in the same way as some of her contemporaries, but it did prompt reflection on the fragility of celebrity and the passage of time in the entertainment industry. Swanson's life story highlighted the human capacity to reinvent oneself even in the face of personal and professional adversity. In the years following her death, her legacy continued to inspire filmmakers, scholars, and fans, particularly through her performance in Sunset Boulevard, which remains a critical commentary on fame, aging, and the entertainment industry. Through films, documentaries, and her portrayal of a forgotten star, Swanson's life and death remind us of the cyclical nature of fame and its often ruthless demands. Her story has been immortalized not just through the films she made, but through the cultural legacy she left behind. Through such figures, we gain insight into humanity's complex relationship with mortality, fame, and the need to be remembered. Priscilla Lane, an actress best known for her roles in films like Arsenic and Old Lace, 1944, and Seven Angels with the Golden Wings, 1940, passed away on April 15, 1995, at the age of 81. Lane's death, attributed to heart failure, marked the end of a career that spanned nearly 3 decades, though it was largely overshadowed by the decline of the golden age of Hollywood. Her passing symbolized both the impermanence of fame and the changing nature of the film industry. Lane was a prominent actress in the 1930s and 1940s, known for her wholesome girl-next-door image. She found significant success in the pre-World War II era, frequently appearing in comedies, thrillers, and musicals. She was well regarded for her performances opposite major stars like Cary Grant and James Stewart. However, by the time she reached middle age, her career slowed, and she began to transition away from acting, becoming more involved in her personal life. What made Lane's death so poignant was the contrast between her personal reclusiveness and the ebullient star she once was. Unlike some of her contemporaries, who remained in the public eye through the decades, Lane quietly stepped out of the spotlight after her film career slowed. This retreat from the fame she had once enjoyed reflected the shifting cultural values of the 1950s and 1960s, when the studio system declined and the nature of celebrity was increasingly defined by more modern, often scandal-ridden figures. The immediate consequence of Lane's passing was the reminder of Hollywood's fleeting nature, particularly for actresses, whose careers often had shorter lifespans than those of their male counterparts. Lane's death didn't result in a major public outpouring, but it did evoke nostalgia for the era of classic films and the actresses who defined it. Her death highlighted how Hollywood, particularly in its golden age, often discarded stars as they aged, a reality that continues to resonate today. In retrospect, Lane's legacy is cemented through her contributions to some of Hollywood's most memorable comedies and her distinctive presence on screen. Films like Arsenic and Old Lace continue to showcase her comic timing and charm, while her role in shaping the cinematic culture of the 1940s continues to be celebrated. Through art, literature, and film preservation, we immortalize such figures, ensuring that their legacies are never forgotten. Lane's life and death are a reminder of the power of memory, the fragility of fame, and how we commemorate those who shaped our collective cultural experience. Vivian Trimble, a talented keyboardist and founding member of the influential alternative rock band Luscious Jackson, passed away unexpectedly on January 27, 2013, at the age of 47. The cause of her death was complications from a long illness that had not been widely disclosed at the time. Trimble's death marked a sorrowful moment in the music world, particularly for fans of the 1990s alternative and hip-hop-infused rock scene, who had come to associate her with the distinctive sound and feminist energy that Luscious Jackson embodied. Vivian Trimble's death was a shock, as it came relatively early in her life, and it underscored the unpredictability of health struggles even among well-known artists. The band's music, which mixed elements of alternative rock, funk, and hip-hop, had been revolutionary in the 90s, offering a unique sound that pushed boundaries. Luscious Jackson's success in the 90s, particularly with their hit song Naked Eye, was a testament to their innovation during an era that saw the rise of both the alternative rock movement and the early fusion of hip-hop and rock. The immediate consequence of Trimble's passing was an outpouring of grief from her bandmates, fellow musicians, and fans. The group, known for its empowering and upbeat anthems, was left grappling with the loss of a central member and a friend. While Trimble had stepped back from active performance by the time of her death, her influence on the band and the genre was undeniable. The loss of Vivian Trimble amplified her legacy, reminding fans of the unique contribution she had made to the soundscape of the 90s music scene. Her passing didn't just highlight the untimely nature of her death, but also reinforced the impact that female musicians have had in a space that was often dominated by men. Trimble's ability to seamlessly blend genres and create music that felt authentic and groundbreaking reflected the changing values of the era, one that increasingly valued diversity and experimentation in music. Her death solidified her place in history as a musician who helped shape a pivotal moment in the evolution of alternative rock. In the years following her death, Trimble was commemorated in various ways, from tributes by her bandmates to remembrances by fans. Her influence lived on, immortalized through the band's music, which continues to inspire artists and listeners alike. Through this process, Trimble's death reflects humanity's complex relationship with legacy, the fragility of life, and the enduring power of music to keep a person's memory alive. Craig Breedlove, an American speed record holder, passed away on April 4, 2023 at the age of 86. He was one of the foremost pioneers in the field of land speed racing, most famously for setting world speed records in the 1960s. Breedlove's death was the result of natural causes, following a long life that had been spent pushing the boundaries of technology and human achievement in speed. His passing marked the end of an era in land speed racing, a domain in which he had left an indelible mark. Breedlove's journey into the world of land speed racing was deeply tied to the cultural values of the mid-20th century, when technological progress and the American spirit of innovation were celebrated. His speed trials, particularly in the late 1960s, were not just feats of physical speed, but symbolic moments that reflected the optimistic outlook of the space age. In 1964, Breedlove became the first person to break the 400 miles per hour barrier, and by 1965, he had shattered the 600 miles per hour mark. He achieved these remarkable feats in his jet-powered vehicle, the Spirit of America, which became an icon of technological advancement and American ingenuity. The immediate consequences of Breedlove's death were felt not only within the world of motorsport, but also among fans of technological innovation. Breedlove had become a legendary figure, and his passing invoked a sense of nostalgia for a time when speed and technology were intimately connected with human aspirations. Though his record was later surpassed by others, his role as a pioneering figure in the race to achieve ever greater speeds continued to amplify his legacy. The era that celebrated his accomplishments was one of great change, including the rise of space exploration and the shifting cultural attitudes toward machinery and speed. Breedlove's death, coming years after he had retired from competitive racing, allowed for a reflection on the values of his time: the unrelenting pursuit of progress, the celebration of individual achievement, and the American drive to conquer new frontiers. His legacy was immortalized not just in the history books, but in the vehicles and technology that continued to push the boundaries of speed. Breedlove's contributions to motorsport were commemorated by various institutions and within the broader context of engineering and speed history. His story remains one of a man who, through sheer will and daring innovation, helped define the race toward technological excellence. In reflecting on Breedlove's life and death, we see humanity's eternal fascination with the limits of what is possible and our enduring desire to challenge those limits, both through the individual and the collective. His story, and the immortalization of his accomplishments, speaks to the human relationship with mortality, progress, and the enduring power of memory through achievement. Faith Domergue, an American actress known for her roles in science fiction and B-movies during the 1940s and 1950s, passed away on April 4, 1999, at the age of 74 due to cancer. Domergue's death marked the end of a life entwined with both the glamour and the darker side of Hollywood's golden age. While her career began with significant promise, including a high-profile relationship with aviation mogul Howard Hughes, it ultimately plateaued, overshadowed by her difficult personal life and the complex nature of her early rise to fame. Domergue's career was molded by the ambitions of Hughes, who discovered her at just 16. She was touted as the next great beauty of Hollywood, starring in films like This Island Earth, 1955. But her career trajectory shifted when she became increasingly disillusioned with the industry's objectification of women and her personal struggles. Her death in the late 1990s marked the loss of one of the lesser-known figures of Hollywood's golden era, someone who had been part of the glittering world of Tinseltown, yet never fully embraced by its mainstream success. The immediate consequences of her passing were more reflective than profound, as it reminded the public of the fleeting nature of fame and the costs associated with it. In the years following her death, there was a renewed focus on her time with Hughes, and her personal narrative was viewed as an example of the complex, sometimes painful relationship between ambition, manipulation, and celebrity. Domergue's story became emblematic of how many women in Hollywood were molded by powerful men and the industry's demands, often with little regard for their own well-being or autonomy. In terms of historical significance, her death did not shift major trajectories, but it added a layer to the ongoing dialogue about the treatment of women in Hollywood and the personal toll exacted by the pursuit of fame. Like many others before her, Domergue became more legend than reality, with her name lingering in the annals of cinematic history as a cautionary tale of fame's ephemeral nature. Her death and legacy underscore humanity's complex relationship with mortality, power, and memory. Figures like Domergue are immortalized through the stories we tell about their lives, whether through biographical narratives, film retrospectives, or the quiet reflection of those who remember them. Through this process, we continue to examine the costs of fame and the ways in which we memorialize figures who once captured the public's imagination but ultimately faded from the spotlight. Forrest Compton, a respected American actor best known for his roles in television dramas such as The Waltons and Hill Street Blues, passed away on April 4, 2021, at the age of 94. His death was attributed to natural causes, marking the end of a long career that spanned over 6 decades in both theater and television. Compton's passing reflected the enduring legacy of actors from a bygone era, one where traditional television was the dominant medium for storytelling before the rise of cable and streaming services. Compton's death did not come as a shock, as he had lived a full life, but it did evoke a sense of nostalgia for the golden age of television in the 1970s and 1980s. His steady presence on the small screen, often portraying dignified, authoritative figures, was a cornerstone of television programming that shaped public perceptions of character-driven stories. Compton's legacy was particularly strong in series like The Waltons, where he portrayed the respected family patriarch, a role that captured the spirit of post-World War II America, focused on family, values, and community. He was part of a generation of actors who were deeply tied to the norms and values of the era, embodying characters who upheld moral integrity, duty, and sacrifice. The immediate consequence of Compton's death was a wave of tributes from fans and colleagues, highlighting his versatility and contribution to American television. While his passing did not shift the trajectory of history, it served to remind the public of the lasting impact that such actors had on shaping American culture and television as an art form. His roles in popular television shows gave him a place in the hearts of many, ensuring his memory would live on through the episodes that continue to be broadcast and appreciated by future generations. Compton's death underscores the transient nature of both life and fame. His contributions to television are immortalized through reruns and the ongoing relevance of the shows he starred in, demonstrating how certain figures are enshrined in the collective memory through art, literature, and media. This process of commemoration reflects humanity's relationship with both mortality and legacy, illustrating how we choose to remember and honor the individuals who have influenced our cultural landscape. Through works like The Waltons, Compton's character continues to represent an idealized vision of American life, a place where family and community played central roles. This enduring image, coupled with his natural passing, reminds us that the memory of an actor, like Compton, often persists beyond their lifetime through the stories they help tell. Kenny Everett, a British radio and television personality renowned for his irreverent and anarchic style, passed away on April 4, 1995, at the age of 50. His death was attributed to complications from AIDS, which he had kept private during the years he battled the disease. Everett's death marked the end of a significant era in British broadcasting, reflecting the complex attitudes toward HIV/AIDS in the 1980s and 1990s. Everett's passing came at a time when the AIDS crisis was still deeply misunderstood and feared. During the early years of the epidemic, AIDS was often associated with stigmatization and social ostracism, particularly in the entertainment industry, which Everett was part of. His decision to keep his illness private until his death mirrored the fears of public backlash and personal judgment that many in his generation faced when dealing with the disease. In this context, his death both highlighted the personal toll AIDS took on individuals and brought attention to the social stigma that still surrounded the epidemic. The immediate consequences of Everett's passing were felt strongly within the entertainment industry and by his fans. His death elicited widespread tributes, with many recalling his innovative and boundary-pushing approach to radio and television. Everett was famous for his quick wit, slapstick humor, and fearless ability to challenge social norms. His show, The Kenny Everett Video Show, had set a new standard for TV comedy with its surreal sketches and absurd characters. In the aftermath of his death, the public and media reflected on his contributions to entertainment and how he had transformed the way British audiences engaged with comedy and broadcasting. Everett's death did not immediately shift the trajectory of history, but it did amplify his legend as a pioneering figure in the world of comedy and broadcasting. The tragic circumstances of his passing, coupled with the secrecy surrounding his illness, added a layer of poignancy to his legacy. In many ways, Everett's death represented a moment of transition in how society viewed AIDS and the individuals affected by it, moving toward a more compassionate understanding over time. Ginny Simms, a celebrated American singer and actress, passed away on April 4, 1986, at the age of 73 due to cancer. Throughout her career, Simms had become a well-known figure in Hollywood, particularly during the golden age of film. She had a successful career as a vocalist, recording hits and starring in numerous films during the 1930s and 1940s, including Swing Fever, 1943, and The Gang's All Here, 1943. Her death, attributed to a long battle with cancer, was a natural one, yet the circumstances surrounding her passing marked the end of an era for the type of music and entertainment she represented. Sims was part of a generation of stars who brought a sense of glamour and elegance to American entertainment, particularly in the early years of World War II. She was known for her rich, smooth voice and her versatility across various genres, from big band standards to romantic ballads. Her passing, following a long period of illness, was a somber reminder of how the world was losing many of its beloved stars from the pre-rock and roll era. The immediate consequence of Sims' death was an outpouring of tribute from fans and colleagues, remembering her contributions to film and music. In the wake of her passing, Hollywood and the music industry reflected on the loss of a true icon of the early 20th century. Sims's death did not shift the trajectory of history in any significant political or cultural way, but it did mark the final curtain on a particular style of show business that had dominated the previous few decades. As jazz and big band music gave way to the rock and roll revolution, figures like Sims became symbols of a bygone era. Her passing amplified her legend as a quintessential figure of 1930s and 1940s Hollywood, but it also highlighted the changing landscape of entertainment. This death serves as a poignant example of humanity's relationship with memory and mortality. The cultural shifts that followed her era, notably the rise of new musical styles and changing social values, underscored the transient nature of fame. Yet through art, literature, and commemoration, figures like Ginny Sims are immortalized, preserving the music and memories that defined their legacies. Through retrospectives, albums, and biographies, we continue to celebrate their contributions, ensuring that the echoes of their lives remain long after their deaths. Edgar Buchanan, an American actor best known for his roles in Western films and TV series, passed away on April 4, 1979, at the age of 76. His death was a natural one, caused by cancer. Buchanan's death marked the end of an era for the Hollywood Western genre, with his passing serving as a poignant reminder of the actors who shaped a beloved genre that had dominated cinema and television during the mid-20th century. Buchanan's career spanned more than 5 decades, and he became a fixture in films and television shows, particularly in roles that showcased his distinctive voice and rugged charm. He was perhaps best known for his role as the lovable, yet tough, Uncle Joe Carson on the popular sitcom Petticoat Junction. His portrayal of the mischievous but good-natured character endeared him to audiences and cemented his place in American television history. The immediate consequence of Buchanan's death was a deep sense of loss within the entertainment community, as his unique comedic and character-driven performances had made him a recognizable face for many. His passing also reflected the changing tides in Hollywood, as television began to dominate over film as the primary form of mass entertainment. In a way, his death symbolized the end of an era in both westerns and television comedy, as newer forms of entertainment began to gain prominence. Buchanan's death did not shift the trajectory of history, but it did amplify his legend, ensuring that his name would live on in the annals of classic television. He was a quintessential character actor, and his portrayal of affable yet tough figures made him beloved by fans. His death, like that of many other entertainers, amplified the enduring appeal of the genres in which he worked, immortalizing him in the hearts of fans who cherished his roles. The death of Mexican actor and comedian José Luis García SLP, known by his stage name Resortes, came on January 5, 1989, at the age of 69. He died of cancer, a natural cause that marked the end of a vibrant career that spanned several decades in Mexican cinema, television, and vaudeville. His passing reflected the challenges faced by the Mexican entertainment industry during a time of transition, as comedy and popular culture evolved alongside the political and social changes of the 1980s. Resort's fame as a slapstick comedian made him a beloved figure in Mexican pop culture. He was particularly known for his energetic performances and his distinctive ability to blend physical humor with sharp wit. His long career, beginning in the 1940s, paralleled the golden era of Mexican cinema, where actors like him shaped the comedic landscape of Mexican entertainment. As the nation moved through the political and cultural shifts of the 1960s and 1970s, comedy and television began to change, but Resorts remained a reliable figure in the entertainment industry, transitioning from film to television with ease. His career symbolized the enduring nature of classic comedy in a world that was rapidly changing. The immediate consequence of his passing was felt deeply by both fans and the entertainment community. Resorts was part of the golden age of Mexican comedy, and his death left a gap in the traditional comedic landscape. However, his legacy lived on through his work, which continues to resonate with audiences even decades after his death. His humor, rooted in Mexican traditions, reflected a unique cultural expression that helped define an era of entertainment. While his death did not alter the trajectory of Mexican history, it did amplify his legend. He became a symbol of the classic comedic traditions of Mexican cinema and television, and his contributions to the industry were remembered through tributes and retrospectives. Much like other comedy legends, his death emphasized the way culture cherishes its comedic heroes even after their time.